Danny, hi. It's a Thanksgiving episode if you're American. And if you're not, it's still a
Yeah.
Thanksgiving episode because we're
If
in.
you're not, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? It's be thankful of something. But to celebrate,
That's right.
we're gonna have, as quality as our jokes are, a very corny Thanksgiving. As most of our
Absolutely.
content today is focused on I guess the most thankful god of all, which would be corn. Very thankful of blood,
Yeah, I
skulls,
think so.
um, decorative centerpieces of skulls and thigh bones and all that other kind of fun stuff. But Denny, you and I played against the same person, same list with two very different lists. We're going to talk some worst character ever. That's going to be back. And
Yep.
then there was some previews as well. So let's just get right to it, seeing as everyone
Let's do it.
sensible has already turned off.
Yep.
Oh man.
John, what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for you, Danny. Thank you for making the last
Aw.
year bearable. Like I think I was saying to someone today, you're like,
You're bearable.
no, I'm saying you made the last year bearable. I think like because I was
Oh,
saying to one of my
okay.
friends, like since March, I think you're one of two people I've seen in person. And so
Yeah,
yeah,
it's been real limited.
it's been real limited. So thankfully, you're not like a massive asshole. So the
Just
otherwise,
medium sized.
dude, I would love it if we just couldn't stand each other, but still chose it like the other person. They're like, God, I hate this so much. Damn COVID. It's another socially responsible mob rules recording remotely as the town Danny and I live in, the small shire,
Small mountain town.
is about to institute another month long lockdown, which is super exciting. So yeah, we are brought to you by the wonders of Discord. If you go to Rep Sports to buy your Raise Energy drink, use promo code SELLOUT. That has nothing to do with Discord, and I just want to make some money on this here. Uh, Rep Sports. It's gnarly, dude. Tubular.
It's in the game.
We can't say that. I think that's EA, right? It's
Oh no, we can't.
it's if it's out the game, it's
Fuck.
out the game. Raise energy drinks. But
Raise
Warhammer.
energy drinks. It's the game.
Oh god, that's good. That's good. If only I was like prepped better to do like explosion sounds and birds. Wait, try again.
Raise energy. It's the game.
Cool. Yeah, I mean that's worse. I think overall. But Warhammer. So before
Yeah.
we are hunkering
It's a
down.
game we play, or we used to.
We
right?
used to. Now we just theory craft it. So on the plus side, I can never be terrible because you can't prove what I'm saying is wrong. Because there's no practical examples anywhere ever.
I'm just
We
gonna math hammer you into oblivion. That's my plan.
Damn it, and you do it so well. It's the most depressing thing. Because I'm like, man, I'm gonna do this, and you're like, you're gonna kill 6 intercessors over the course of a game. Oh,
5 turns.
okay.
Oh.
Oh, fine. That's what I get for taking squigs. But last Saturday, before the world imploded, both of us played a
Yep.
game against the same person, running
We
the
did.
same list. Our friend Kev, who was on the last episode, was running a brand new Death Watch using the
Yep.
new supplement. Danny, you played him first, and I played him afterwards, and we had 2 very different lists to kind of
Absolutely.
test the metal of the Death Watch. So why don't we start with you and kind of your game against Kev?
Well, why don't we start with Kevin's list? I
Oh,
think that's probably a good place
probably
to start,
that's
right?
like the one common denominator between the two. Yeah, for sure.
So Kevin's list, Kevin was running Death Watch. He was running a single battalion. He had a watch captain with the jump pack, relic blade, storm shield, and the relic shield that gives a 5+ invulnerable save aura. And then he had a Primaris Tech Marine with the Iron Hands Warlord trait to let him heal +1 damage, and he was Master of the Forge, so he just heals a flat 4 damage, which is pretty neat. He had a Fortis kill team with 5 intercessors with assault bolters, and then 5 outriders. He had a Spectrus kill team with seven models. So he had 5 infiltrators and 2 incursors. And then he had a Deathwatch kill team. I think there were 8 or 9 of them in there. There was a bunch of Storm Shields and normal Deathwatch bolters, but then also he had a couple models with the Infernus Heavy Bolter.
I have them sitting
heavy bolter
on my desk right here.
Oh yeah, because you forgot them.
Because you left them, yeah.
Oh, and you got some new basing material now.
I do, and Skarbrand will wear them with pride. But yeah, it's kind of like.
And then what else? He had 5 Inceptors and 2
plasma.
units of 5 Eradicators.
Yeah, well, it was the mixed ones, right? The Eradicators, because it was part Eradicator, part Aggressor.
No. Oh, I think he was just using the Aggressor models.
Is it right? It was proxy heavy from both of us there. But yeah, the Eradicators were definitely there. Definitely lots of ways to take care of armor, and like a nice little bit of everything from the Deathwatch box, which is super nice to see because Kev's played Deathwatch since he started, like he said last episode, and this is like a whole new way to play Deathwatch.
He's been waving that flag forever.
Yeah, he sure has.
More power to him.
Exactly, and now he has like this great supplement and an option to take a whole lot more units.
Oh, he also had a Redemptor Dreadnought and a Venerable Dreadnought.
Oh, he did. Yeah, the 2 Dreadnoughts at the back.
Those were Dreadnoughts that did not appear in your game, did they?
They appeared. They swung.
Okay.
They didn't make much of an impact, but
no, they don't have a lot of attacks.
That's for later. That's for later talk.
Yes. So anyway, I played Necrons. I've been trying to play the Silent King now that I have it mostly painted, just because I want to. I mean, if I'm going to spend all that time, painting up a model, I want to make sure that I can actually use it, right?
For sure.
So my Necron list consisted of the Silent King. I've got the Technomancer and the Chronomancer. Technomancer had the Voltaic Staff, Canoptic Cloak, and the thing that lets me bring back, do rites of reanimation on a destroyer or Canoptic unit. And then I had the Chronomancer who had the Veil of Darkness. I had 2 units of 10 Immortals. 1 with Tesla, 1 with Goss, a unit of 10 Death Marks, a unit of 3 Tomb Spiders, or Canoptic Spiders now, I guess. And I had 2 units of 9 Scarabs, 1 unit of 8 Scarabs, and a unit of 3 heavy Locust Destroyers with the super big Goss cannon that 23 damage.
You really did bring out all your new toys that you wanted to try out, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, I got a bunch of new stuff. What's the point if you're in having it if you're not going to use it, right? So, we rolled up the super weird Hammer and Anvil deployment mission.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like a little box you have in the middle of your in the middle of the deployment zone.
A tiny little box too.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to fit your army into, to be honest. Luckily, Necron. I mean, I didn't have like a ton of models, so it was a little easier for me to fit everything in there. Anyway, so Kevin ended up going first. He didn't do enough damage. I think he killed a few Immortals. I was able to hide the Silent King behind a piece of obscuring terrain.
Man.
And then on my turn,
pretty large piece of obscuring terrain.
Well, it doesn't have to. I mean, it just has to be 5 inches tall, right?
For sure.
Hide his base behind it. So then he popped out on my turn, and I killed the Redemptor Dreadnought, which exploded and did like 3 mortal wounds to 4 different units, which was kind of a bummer. And then I killed a bunch of stuff. I killed I think I only killed like 1 unit on my first turn.
Mm-hmm.
But then I killed I think 3 or 4 units on my second turn, and then by the third turn I killed everything but a Tech Marine and trying to think what else. There wasn't very much left. There was like the Tech Marine and 1 other guy, and that was all that he had in his army. So it was pretty brutal. The Necrons were able to just focus fire, and I got a bunch of extra shooting from my Death Marks because of their stratagem that lets them like intercept models that come in from Deep Strike.
Oh yeah.
So they were doing like I killed two and a half eradicators and one of the unit when that unit dropped, and then I killed
Oh dang.
Yeah. Then I killed 2 Inceptors through the apothecary bubble as well.
Oh dang.
Which was pretty brutal. Luckily, it's at the end of his move phase, so he gets to bring one back with the apothecary.
But
and then also heal the guy that was wounded. But still, yeah, I nuked an Inceptor before he got to shoot me, which was excellent.
What a great introduction to death marks.
Yeah. So it's like, well, what did you learn? But no, so actually he's played against them before. But what a great unit. So I'm going to build up a second squad of them. That's kind of my takeaway from that game. But overall, a super fun game. I think Kevin did a lot better this game than our first game that we played with his Death Watch, without the new book, just with the index, right? In that he was a lot more cautious and didn't like push out super hard with his Outrider squad, his 5-man Outrider squad. And when he did push up, though, I think he pushed on the wrong side of the table. I would have kind of tried to switch sides of the table with the Outriders.
So, like, what side did he go for? Like, what was it he was going for?
Well, opposite of them was the Canoptic Spiders, and they'll, like, mess up the bikers in combat. Like, there's no contest. Like, they will just ruin their day. And so when they charged in, they killed all the bikers. I mean, I had to shoot some of them to death, but mostly the spiders killed the bikers.
How rude.
So, yeah, it was pretty rude. But now the bikers came in and wiped out a 7-man squad of Immortals, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, those bikers are no joke. Like, they have a lot of attacks on the charge.
Yeah, so he gives them +1 attack because he's fighting against Necrons. He gets like a bunch of stratagems to help defeat me. And they got 7 attacks apiece with that. So rolling 35 attacks is pretty good.
Oh, geez. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
how did
great games?
How did the Silent King go for you? Because like I said, you were interested to take him out.
Yeah. Well, okay. So like, I don't really usually like super expensive big models in my army. So I would prefer not to play with those if I can. I like to have more units in my army. And so he was great at being a midfield bully. Like, he just soaked up a bunch of firepower that would have killed other units instead. Like, I think he took 2 units of Eradicators and Kevin rolled like garbage.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, those Eradicators just rolled so bad, which was the big sad for Kevin.
Especially because, like, Eradicators aren't supposed to. Like, statistically, they shouldn't be bad.
Oh, John, they fuck. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really polite way for me to put it. I mean, damn, you can't pause like that, Danny. You go, like, instantly respond because I'm like, oh, shit, did it crash again?
So they actually, I'm remembering they didn't shoot the Silent King. They actually ended up shooting at my destroyers to try and kill them.
Okay.
And they killed 2 of 3.
That's actually pretty good.
Well,
or
so
no?
he hit 3 times, or got 3 wounds through, and then rolled a 1, a 1, or a 1 and a 2, and then like a 5, and that killed 1, and then the other squad of 3 guys killed another 1.
Oh, Kev.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Dice games, man.
Yeah. It was again the big sad.
That does sound like the big sad. But yeah, so we got to take out your new toy. How did because I know you were talking about those new heavy locust heavy destroyers as being something you were interested in. Maybe not so much the Silent King was like the Danny kind of list, but how did those guys do for you?
They were kind of cool. So I managed to Rites of Reanimator one back then. So I got one back.
that also feels bad.
Yeah. I almost reanimated one back too, and that would have been like really bad because I got 3 out of 4 or 5 pluses on him, and so I'm sure.
So you just took Kevin's dice rolls.
Yeah, that must have been it.
Hell yeah!
And then they killed. I think they killed 2 bikers, like the Outriders, and then the next turn they shot the apothecary and killed him.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
The apothecary can be a real pain in the ass. So.
Oh, he is a giant pain in the ass.
Yeah. Otherwise, you just scream at him. Any other takeaways from that game?
Not for me. I think probably Kevin learned a goodly amount. I tried this thing that Chuck from Best in Faction kind of has been doing with his, and I don't usually do this because I don't really have armies that. When I get full rerolls, I usually like to try and just keep the hits that I get. I don't normally have like a 2+ rerolling everything. It's usually a 2+ rerolling ones, just because I don't normally have nice things. But what I did was the Tesla is get +1 to hit, like with the Silent King from I Will Be Done. And then I just would take all the 6s, put them aside, and re-roll all the dice anyway. So I'm hitting on 2s.
You're like fishing for 6s,
right? And then the 6s are 3 hits instead of 1. And then I also pumped up the Gauze Immortals for the same thing, where 6s were an extra hit and they did an auto wound. And so I did the same thing on those, and that was really devastating. I think I did 17 wounds to one of the squads at one time.
Dang, just fishing.
Just that many hits is really, really rough.
Man, it is super cool. I'm sorry, rough even is what you said, though cool is how I interpreted it.
I mean, I thought it was cool. It was rough for Kevin.
It was. So after your guys' game, which you guys headed over here, and that's going to bring us to a segment that's been often requested since we've last done one. So, like, if I have the chance to use the music, we're just going to...
Hi, everybody. It's time for John's Jank Corner.
Kevin played against my Jank.
Yep, he sure did.
Yeah, so I have gone on a corn demon kick, as we can tell by, like, our corny Thanksgiving and all the different things we're going to be doing. Just kind of as a backup, well, not even a backup army, I think, at this point, just because of the sheer time investment I have to put into it.
It's an army. It's an army.
But no, just with the upcoming Death Guard release. So I was playing really good with Death Guard, and then Forge World hit, which made me have to rebuild my army from scratch pretty much based on how I was playing them, with the removal of a lot of the units that I was using. And I didn't really feel like rebuilding my army to the new Forge World meta and then in a month rebuilding it again to the new codex. So I was like, well, I'll just try something else to keep going. So keeping with my chaos theme, I decided to try Corn Demons. Chaos players tell me are unloved and never touched by GW. So I figured I was fairly safe to start building an army.
So is there any particular like game reason that you wanted to play Corn Demons over something, or Demon Army over something else, or just it seemed interesting to you?
It seemed interesting, right? Because we've talked about how, like, I'm trying to stick within the Chaos sub-faction. Like, if we split everything into like 4 things. So what plays differently? Because Death Guard plays in a very certain way. The Chaos Space Marine stuff I have plays in a different way. So I wanted something that played differently, the models were super cool for, and that I could I really wanted to practice auras and have an army where I could kind of practice and get better at positioning in auras. Because that's a huge part of Chaos and Death Guard is those auras and those positioning. So anything I want to do is going to be in service of that. And so I started building lists with that in mind. And jokingly at first, Skull Altar isn't in the GT or the G2, the chapter approved, but it's in the app. So I went and bought one. I can't use it.
I think it'll be in the new Demons book whenever that comes out. I feel like
I'm pretty sure it will be. I think I have like a good 6-month head start in the Skull Altar meta that we're going to be bringing about. But it originally came from kind of like the meme idea of running just as many Bloodthirsters as possible, which was like,
right.
I think we figured out 7 was the max you can run this edition.
Yeah, it's pretty much 7. Yeah.
And even then, one of those is if you roll a 4+ on a relic to bring 1 back with D6 wounds, which is technically a new one. So it works.
Yep, he is.
And then I just kind of do the thing I usually do. Like I look at like what seems bizarre. And I did that. So the army I ran against Kev, which was kind of like the culmination of my little corn lists. Well, actually, I made it and I kept adding Skull Crushers in and then looking at how much the unit cost and then taking them out. And I did this for like a week or 2 of just like, man, I want to run them because it looks so cool. They look amazing, but every time I put down like 7 or 6 Skull Crushers in the list and it comes up to like 250 points, I'm like, I don't feel good about that, especially when I could take like 30 blood ladders. So it got to a point where I was like, why wouldn't I just take 30 blood ladders instead of everything? So the list I'm running is 4 units of 30 blood ladders. So 120 blood ladders.
Nice.
Each has a musician, each has a standard. Each of those standards you spend a CP to upgrade to Banner of Blood, which means once a game you can do a 3d6 charge. Very good. Like I can't believe I was even considering not taking that. Because that is so good. And then to back it up, the captain of Team Scotland, Innes, has been going on about Furies, Chaos Furies for the longest time. So I looked into those, and those guys are real good now.
Yeah, I think they're good for their points for sure. They're very fast.
They're little 7-point models, come in units of 5 to 20. They move 12 inches. They have fly. With the Mark of Corn, they have 3 strength, 5 attacks. So they can do stuff if they get there. They have the demon save, so who cares? Like, about any kind of minuses. So obviously the only sensible thing to do was to take 3 squads of 20. This is where my proxying came in, because I did not have 60 Furies. I think I have 18 at this point here.
That's pretty good though. That's a lot more than most people would have. Furies,
which is so I supplemented those with Tyranid Gargoyles and Imperial Fist Tactical Marines. So there's like real quality stuff going on. And then single battalion. So HQs are, I took Skull Taker, which is one of the Khorne characters. And then the other one I took was Skarbrand, which was the named Bloodthirster that they have.
Who needs
going.
relics, John?
Well, see, that's the thing. I didn't realize that Skull Taker was a character. I thought it was a title. So I'm like, cool, I'm going to take a Warlord Trainer Relic. And then I click on like, how can I not choose anything? I'm like, oh, because I just took special characters the whole time.
He's a dude.
He's the man. He was pretty ineffective in my game, but that's just mainly because of how I used him. The main way this list works is you start the game with very little CP because of all the Banners of Blood. Which takes up 4 CP, and then you spend 6 CP to deep strike 90 blood, or put 90 blood letters in reserve. So you're only starting on the table with 92 models, which is going to be the 60 Furies, a unit of 30 blood letters, Skarbrand, and Skull Taker. And the idea is everything within 8 inches of Skarbrand is immune to morale, so I don't have to care about losing models. Everything within 8 inches of Skarbrand can't run away from combat. So with the right positioning, I don't have to worry about you running away. Well, you can run away, but you just have to pass the leadership on 3d6.
Yep.
And then he also buffs their attacks. So with blood letters, like giving all of those an extra attack, plus an extra attack for the charge, that unit of 30 blood letters is getting 40 to 90 attacks in the charge, which is gross.
They're hitting on 2s.
And they're hitting on 2s. And especially because they're over 30, and then if they fall below 30, Skull Taker makes them hit on 2s anyway, as long as he's within range. So again, I'm just trying to work on these like synergies and my positioning and kind of things for that there. So Kev brought over his list to play against this. I knew he was going to be in a little bit of trouble when he sat blank stared looking at my army trying to figure out secondaries. Because something I found out is it's not the easiest army to take secondaries against. There's not a lot of really good options. Like he was going through like his Death Watch specific ones, and there's one where like you pick 3 battlefield rolls, and if you kill all of those things, you just get 15 points, which is great if I had like 1 elite choice or like 1 fast attack choice that he could use. But he would literally have to kill 180 models to get that to happen. And then it was, and because the majority of my army's objectives secured, it means like a lot of the other ones are super risky too.
For sure. Yeah, and you don't want to push out too far either.
No, exactly. And he certainly didn't. Like after playing you, he played it a little cagier. But unfortunately, he didn't screen his deployment zone super well. So turn 2 drops. I do nothing turn 1, as you would expect for an army that has like no psychic. The only shooting is Skarbrand yelling obnoxiously from the corner.
As he's wont to do.
As he's wont to do. It was mainly like turn 1 was just kind of positioning and moving stuff for the turn 2 charge. Um, Turn 1, Kev, I managed to hide Skarbrand pretty well. So Skarbrand took 6 wounds overall from his entire army. I lost 1 unit of 20 Furies. I think I lost like 6 Furies from another unit. But outside of that, everything else was pretty much untouched. Turn 2, I was able to take 90 Bloodletters down within 9 inches of his army. One of the units had to be a little further away because he had what's the thing?
Omni Scrambler.
The Omni Scrambler. So he had to be, so I couldn't
infiltrators. Yeah.
I couldn't charge the infiltrators with that unit, but I was able to assault pretty much his entire army that turn. And then the attacks just started. Skarbrand made his 8-inch charge, so he charged turn 2. And I had no idea that guy fucks in combat. Oh my god,
it's a lot of attacks.
So like I was like, well, there's a lot of guys in the shoes on the intercessors, or no, it was the incursors with the little Omni Scrambler because I was mad that I had to be far away, so that's who he charged and attacked. I did like 18 attacks to them, and then each of those attacks, I think I got like 4 6s, which means he gets an additional attack.
Yep.
Or an additional hit even. So he
just an extra hit. Yeah.
Yeah. So he wiped that squad in 1 round before they came back.
Brutal.
And then he reached out and touched the Inceptors, which was key to the whole thing. The Bloodletters wiped out the Outriders pretty much right away. They took him down to a man. They took out the Tech Marine. The Tech Marine killed a few of my Bloodletters first, but I was able to kill myself out of combat with his Dreadnought, so they couldn't swing in and hit. It was just a lot of really good dice rolling for me, and a lot of pressure very early.
Yep.
And just pinned him in his deployment zone. And while he was pinned in his deployment zone, the Furies just kind of flew around, making sure I got my engage all fronts, and making sure I'm on objectives and doing all that other kind of stuff. Like I said, the army list almost worked too well. Like I don't want to take that game as a indication of how it goes, because it's a glass hammer army.
Sure.
Because when he started swinging back and like he had a couple of his squads swinging back, my stuff dies really quickly.
It really does. Yeah.
Turns out
Bloodletters are only T3 with a 5+ save.
I was gonna say, turns out 3 up 5+ save, or T3 5 up save guys are not super durable. So it's really a positioning. It's really a counter charge. And then something else I didn't really even consider. I got to keep Skarbrand away from combat, which seems so counterintuitive to how he should be played. Because, I mean, he has his 2 axes, which have like the Souls of Bloodthirst. We're going to go into this later. It's fucking stupid.
Okay.
But one of them is for hordes. Like you get 2 attacks for every attack you have in your profile. And it does like 1 damage, -2 AP. And then the other one is for killing knights, because you get like, was it strength 16, AP -4, just D6 damage a piece. I did some like test rolling after you guys left, and I was like literally killing a knight a turn, just from like rolling through that. But with all that, something Skarbrand does is he has a special rule where everyone within 8 inches of him gets an extra attack.
Yep.
Friend or foe. So when I charge him into the middle of a Space Marine army, that's real bad. Like I lost
kind of dangerous, man.
I lost a lot of Bloodletters because I charged into, and I'm glad that I didn't, he didn't have more like specific lists. I can't even imagine charging into like Death Company or Wolfen or anything like that. But yeah.
Oh yeah, some of the real combat specialists aren't
charging in just to the regular guys, and they're starting with like 4 attacks base because they're getting +1 from being charged, +1 from Skarbrand, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah. So that was like a really big takeaway for me, is the big combat monster has to literally hide in a ruin within 8 inches of all the other squads. But I've trained for this. I played my Plague Bearer spam. I know how to change shit back to keep my buffs going. And he's the true like kind of fuck around and find out, because I mean he's gonna stay in midfield, and you can go and try and take midfield, but I guarantee if you do, you're gonna die.
It's gonna hurt.
I can't think of many things that can survive him. So that's kind of nice. Skull Taker, I think I'm going to play him differently next time. I was a little disappointed with him, but mainly that's just because of how I used him. Like, I couldn't really move him because I needed to get engage all fronts. So he had to kind of anchor down that back corner. But at the same time, he's too good not to take, I think. And especially because, again, in this fuck around and find out kind of thing, you don't want to leave characters near him, or you don't want to put stuff near him. So I have, like, even if Skull Taker is just guarding my deployment zone, you really don't want to go down beside him. So there's that kind of.
He's tough and not tough, but he hits pretty hard,
He hits
especially if you're a character.
Yeah, and if you're a character, like if he rolls a 6 to wounds, it's like was it D3 plus 3 wounds, which is just, it can get super gross super quick.
And he's like flat 3 too, right?
Yeah,
for his weapon. Yeah,
he's pretty gross, and like so it's. I understand now. Like, I have these great combat monster characters, and I think this is just Khorne in general at this point. Is you have all of these combat monsters, but you don't want to be super aggressive with them. I think, Danny, you brought up the point of something to do is just kind of hang around and wait for people to come to you.
Yeah, and that's fine.
As a thing to do.
You don't have to play it as aggressively as you would think a Khorne army has to play all the time.
Right.
Because you can, if your opponent doesn't have the range threat to actually remove you off of objectives, you can just play the long game and just clog up the middle of the table with 180 bodies or 150 bodies. No, 180. Right?
180.
Yeah. 180 bodies and just say, okay, like, come get me. Good luck.
And like years of playing orcs and then plague bearer spam and kind of poxwalker spam means that when models die, I don't really care. Like, I'm kind of, they've served, and that's what generally when playing hordes, that's what's like people stumble on, is they start caring too much when models die. And really, you can't, because then you start panicking and your game plan changes. But yeah, they're there to be expanded. So that ended up, I think 85-19 to me, just because I moved forward so quickly. I was able to put him in his deployment zone, and board control is so important in this game. I think we were talking earlier about how Engine War was a really kind of not the best supplement for demons. Like, it didn't give them a whole lot, but 9th edition has given them so much. They have amazing objectives secured. They have great board control. They have so many options. Like, I'm saying, I'm spending 6 CP to deep strike stuff. If I don't want to, I don't have to. Like, and I can make that decision at the table, which is like those kind of flexibilities are huge. And I think it's why we're seeing so much success with demons recently.
Demons are a great army. They're one of the top 4 armies as far as win rate goes across, like, just according to 40K stats. Like, they do incredibly well for win percentage. And that, like you were saying, man, the troops choices they have, like especially horrors, that kind of stuff, but plague bearers that can just hold objectives are amazing at doing that.
Yeah,
and then the big,
it's like, what are you going to do?
Nurglings, right?
Yeah, it's like, what are you going to do if, like, go to clear bloodletters off an objective? Are you going to go within charge range of them? Are you going to charge them? Sure? Yeah, it's like you have to make some really difficult decisions. But I'm excited, honestly, to play Kavagam with this list.
Me too.
Because, I mean, as much as like it's jank, it's real gotcha jank. Like, no one expects it to be as fast or as brutal as it can be. So I think like he learned some real cool lessons about hordes, because I don't know like how many hordes he's played before, about kind of how they play. And
yeah, probably not many, I would say.
Right.
So I think it's a good learning experience, and that's something that you absolutely have to know how to do. And like, against that kind of an army, screening is 100% of the battle. Like,
right.
If you can screen out right, then you can prevent so much stuff and so many shenanigans, and it's just going to make the game better for you.
I mean, something you pointed out to him after the game was something he could have done against me, is kind of throwing up roadblocks to kind of slow me down. Because something like that, 90% of my army was in combat turn 2. But something Danny pointed out is if he sent out units to specifically die. And I think this comes from the fact, like, Danny, like you from playing kind of original Warhammer Fantasy and playing horde armies, is you have to be okay, like, sacrificing shit and kind of throwing stuff out there. Yep. So if he'd done that and thrown that unit out, then of course I'm going to charge him. But what can I do after that? I can consolidate 3 inches towards him, but that's going to really kind of slow my momentum.
And then just make sure your units are spaced more than 3 inches apart as well. So like when you kill the Spectre's kill team and consolidate into the Inceptors, like that doesn't happen anymore.
No. And really what won me that game was turn 3. He like did all of his like Space Marine shenanigan power-ups to his dreadnoughts. He was ready to go. Like Skarbrand was going to eat like Venerable Las Cannon and a bunch of heavy onslaught Gatling cannons. and he
Right.
went to retreat from combat with the Inceptors, and he failed his leadership test.
Ugh.
So now his entire army is locked in combat. Those that can shoot, cool, you can shoot Furies with las cannons. That's fine. So it's kind of like really clutch there. But for my jank, like Bloodletter's not easy enough to play, but you know what you're going to do with them. Furies, I know what I'm going to do with them. The real practice for me and where this army is going to just be hugely successful or fail awfully is how disciplined I can be with Skarbrand and when to move Skarbrand, when to deep strike him, when to charge him, when to fall back, when to run away. And I know for me that's going to be really hard because there's going to, like, Danny, if you know how I play, the first thing you're going to do is throw out some juicy giant ass target for Skarbrand to charge into. And you'd be like, oh no, he died, but now he's in the middle of the table. And, you know,
And now he's tasty pickings.
but that's like the glass hammer part for me because, like, it's really some just honest to God, like holding myself back and making the right decisions with that one model. It's crazy. That one model will affect the rest of my army so much. So I guess if you play me, shoot Skarbrand and just kill him outright.
Seems like good advice.
Yeah, it is. We will be right back after this message from a sponsor.
Dude, I'm the best. I took first place at another tournament.
First off, stop with the thunder and lightning. You don't impress me. And second, let me check out the BCP rankings. And I don't see you on there.
What?
Your TO needs to download the Best Coast Pairings app and run events on it. After the event, the results are uploaded into BCP rankings, and the best part, it's easy and free.
But I play multiple game systems.
No big deal. The BCP app can be used for any game. A ton of events every weekend are using it, from major international tournaments to local stores. And now that it's available on Android devices, you're going to have some serious competition.
There can be only one.
BCP Rankings is a fun and exciting way to measure how you or your team stack up. No matter what you play, your score goes to an overall ranking, or compete to be the best in a game, a circuit, a region, or the world.
Download the app or visit www.bestcoastpairings.com for more info.
Best Coast Pairings.
Are you the best?
Every time I don't understand why there's an overdub for one line of dialogue for like a 55-second commercial. Like, I think they just did the Us thing and we're like, fuck it, it's good enough. We'll just edit it in later.
We'll get it in post.
We'll get it in post. But yeah, it was an actual ad for a sponsor. Way to go, Best Coast Pairings. Thank you.
Yeah, you did it.
Danny, did you do any hobby stuff this past couple of weeks? We kind of went right into the game and didn't really talk about what really makes us a hybrid podcast, and that's the hobby aspect of it.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's see. What did I do? I worked on the Silent King a little bit. I built some more heavy destroyers because I didn't have all the right ones built. So I mean, I bought 6, so I might as well, have 3 of each. I think is just how I'm going to build them.
That's fair, right?
Yeah, sure. I built 10 Immortals today. Actually, I finished them. Because I have 30 Tesla Immortals, but I have no Gauss Immortals, so it was good to do that. I primed all of my Scarabs because as the most integral part of my army list, I can't imagine not having a bunch of those all the time. So I got to get cracking on painting those guys.
God, I hate them so much.
But yeah, no, every hobby front has been going pretty good. Oh, I built that limited edition Terminator Chaplain that came out.
Oh yeah,
for Warhammer Day.
How was that?
He's a push fit model.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's really cool. He's a great model.
Nice.
So, how about you, John? What did you do?
I made Furies. So I built the 18 that I have, and then I started looking for ways to kind of get the other 42. So I think like during the game, like before the game started, I said to you and Kev, I'm like, I really hope these guys are really shit for this game because I do not want to spend $250 on like 7 more boxes of Furies.
Yeah, that's fair.
Luckily, Innes came through again and said to just use the Raptorix and no one will know the difference. And I think it turns out pretty cool. So only actually have to buy 2 more boxes of Furies, which I have on the way. And
So if Innes told you to jump off a bridge, would you do it?
I mean, he's technically the captain of Team Scotland, and even though it's for like a league I don't recognize or play in, I think legally I'm required to. Otherwise, I have to turn in all my models.
That sounds correct. As a citizen of Scotland, he has dominion over you.
He does. Until I get that U.S. Citizenship, then I'm forced to do what he says. And then I'm just beholden to Nick Nanavati.
Banana body. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, cappuccino grande latte. So I built the Raptorix from, and so Furies come from the Warcry Chaotic Beast box, and it's like a 2-pack with 6 Furies and 6 Raptorix. Raptorix are like little Zinch flesh hounds, pretty much. They're little skinny, collared things. So I converted them, I guess. I just didn't put the collar on, so they almost look like Slaanesh Seekers with wings. And then put them on 32 millimeter bases, and then I ordered a bunch of clear plastic rod, and then I'm just going to have them in various swooping flight angles to kind of fly all over the place. And then
for your models.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, those plastic rods. It's like
I mean, you order a lot of clear plastic rod from what I understand.
It's our main sponsor. It's how we pay for the place. It's our OnlyFans that gets the hosting done.
That's true.
So like the idea is to have them all like
Patreons.
swooping and flying about and everything. And the nice thing is I can lie and say I'm not being cheap. I'm just trying to get some unit differentiation. So I'll have like 1 unit of like pure Furies, 1 unit of Raptorix Furies, and then 1 mixed mongrel unit, which will be the one that hangs in my deployment zone. But that way, it's really easy to tell what they are because there's only 3 different sculpts of Furies. So 60 of them, and it would be kind of boring to have, well, this is the one perched. So that's from unit A. I don't like that. That doesn't seem very cool. I gathered and collated 120 blood letters, or I'm sorry, 117, because I found I was 3 blood letters short of the 120, and I was so pissed about it. Holy cow. Like, luckily, Danny, you came through and found like 3 or 4. But can I tell you the idea of having to buy a box of 10 blood letters?
Oh yeah, that's the worst.
Because I'm missing 3. Really just depressed the hell out of me. So I got
I'm
those.
sure I have more too. So if I find some little extras, then you can run 125.
Okay, good. The perfect amount is the 125. So yeah, I got all the corn stuff together. I very professionally put them all in gallon Ziploc bags. And when like Kevin asked me what my army was, I just threw Ziploc bags on the table. I'm like, it's there. It's all great. And yeah, that's about all I did. I ordered, like I said, my last of my Furies, so I can get all that going, and I can get to painting, which is going to be the giant pain in the ass. Holy cow. 180 models. Yeah. But I think if I was actually going to LVO at this point, this is what I would take, because it seems to be the most fun one. Oh, I picked up a battle foam case.
Oh,
I sure did.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I didn't take advantage of their annual Black Friday sale. I bought it off another player, and wonderfully enough, as my son runs downstairs here. Okay, and now he is away. But it's also, that's about all I want to say about corn. Well, not really, because we also have the return of another old favorite. Again, oft requested. The worst character in Warhammer 40,000 ever. Oh man, continuing our I always forget how long the flush is. So this is our worst character ever, but some caveats. I don't have the list in front of me. I don't know where he's gonna rank. It's pretty much top 5 guaranteed at this point, just because they're reading it. And he gets the bump from the Matt Ward Grimdark era, which everyone seems so obsessed to return back to.
But I think he will take out. I think he's going to take out, what is his name? Anva. I think Anva is number 5.
Anva's 5. Yeah, this guy's okay. So spoilers. This guy's definitely going to end up at 5, just because. Good God. Continuing our very corny Thanksgiving episode, our worst character contender for this week is. Man, see, that wasn't even a sound effect. That was my hands on a table. It's Skarbrand.
Is it Karanak?
No, it's Skarbrand. No, that's Karanak.
Wait, no, is it Skulltaker?
These are all great choices that can come up. Corn characters seem to be very difficult to make interesting backstories that don't seem to be the part-time hot topic employees journal notebook.
Kabanda?
Kabanda?
Yeah.
You having a stroke?
that
Are you
who it is?
okay?
No. The named bloodthirster, the one that's Sanguinius broke his back.
Oh, yeah.
Has like a vendetta against the Blood Angels.
I think it's Batman. Right? Because it's it's a bad joke. We're just gonna edit that out. Not really. I don't
it's
have
not
enough
Bane.
to do.
No, it's not Bane.
So yeah, Skarbrand is the most famed of the named bloodthirsters because he has his own character. He has many names, as all good people do. He's the best custodian. He is known as the Exiled One, the Wrathful Reaper, Drinker of Blood. All of these Swedish metal bands, by the way, that you can and should look up. Wrathful Reaper.
He just takes all of his titles from Swedish metal band names.
Yeah. What's I am Skarbrand, the Gwar.
The Gwar.
So and here's where sort of my issue with it begins. It's called an eternity of battle in the blood god's name brought him uncounted victories. False. How can it be an eternity? Eternity is endless. I mean,
Well,
are we going for the old time works differently in the warp kind of way?
I mean, I guess that's the only thing I can think of why that would make sense.
And he's just an asshole. He tore down the gates of Slanesh's palace. Doesn't do anything within it. Just tore down the gates, left it wide open to whoever the hell wants to go in there. He's
fucked up the Slanesh's ring.
Yeah,
like his doorbell camera.
Oh yeah. Just
Slanesh was really upset about it, like because
he ding dong dashed. So Slanesh left a
exactly
flaming bag of bloody poop on the doorstep. But Korn loved him so. It was his greatest. Bloodthirster. His axes. Now let's talk about his axes. He has two.
Slaughter and Carnage, right?
Slaughter and Carnage. Pending a lawsuit from Marvel. Because I'm assuming they're symbiotes. Carnage. But each of the axes contains essentially a bloodthirster that he's bested in combat. So he's, I guess, 3 bloodthirsters, or I get.
I mean, he's like 1.5. I don't know, because the bloodthirster is in the axe.
Yeah, that's fair. How good can they really be if they're in an axe? So he spent eternity, and we're going to use that term because it's forever, kicking ass, taking names, trapping his friends inside of inanimate objects, breaking gates, doing all other kind of bad stuff. So he must be like pretty like a rage and fueled corn person. No, he got tricked by Tzeentch, which when you think bloodthirster, how do you get tricked? Like what would you have to do to trick someone who literally just screams and murders?
Well, John, that's a great question, and here's how I would do it. I would take a Ziploc bag full of blood and put a straw in it and just kind of shake it in front of him and then go, "Oh, come follow me," and then kind of walk, not fast, but at a steady clip to the place I wanted him to go.
That's fair. No, Tzeentch managed to convince him that he should kick Korn's ass, which that's what I don't get. Okay, so the greater demons are supposed to be like tiny little shard slivers, essences of giant gods themselves, right? So how fucking arrogant do you have to be like, yeah, I can take on something a billion times bigger than me, and stronger and angrier than me? Pretty arrogant, I would have to say. So anyway, like they describe how one day Korn was paying attention somewhere else. So he's like, I don't know, looking off the veranda into the distance and, seeing how his vineyards are doing. I don't know what Korn does in his off time. And Skarbrand sneaks up Looney Tunes style behind him with his 2 axes. And he
puts the one up to his lips and goes, shh.
He turns to camera and shushes really quick. And he does this mighty blow with both of his friend axes. And this blow would be enough to, I think, nuclearize or destroy an entire planet. But what it did was slightly scar Korn's armor, which I found out Korn is a god, wears armor. Good for him.
Yeah. It's more aesthetic than like, functional. I think.
Apparently, it's very functional because it like completely blocked this blow. So imagine, if you will,
he's a god. So
you're Korn. You're looking out on your veranda. It's the Catalina wine mixer. You're enjoying the view. Then all of a sudden, one of your punk little 2-year-old kids runs up behind you and just punches you in the balls, like just a real uppercut into there. That's sort of what happened here. And of course, Korn, being the god of rage, bloodlust, skulls, all that stuff, took it real well. No, he didn't. Here's where it gets.
Well, I heard that they went to mediation with HR, and there was. They settled their dispute in a win-win-win scenario.
So a couple of things happened here. One, Korn choked out Skarbrand. This is problematic for a couple reasons, mainly that demons don't breathe. So I can imagine Skarbrand pinned against a wall, and again, Korn, giant god of war, so I'm imagining like he's just got his pinky and thumb and just pushing him up against the wall and just screaming in his face. And Skarbrand's like, well, I don't know what you're trying to do. I don't breathe. This does nothing. Yeah, throwing gang signs all out of there. No, he's like jerking it like a micro dick. Like that
is not a gang sign.
It's a gang bang sign.
Yeah, there you go.
But he choked him so hard, not so that he died. He choked him to the point where his personality left him. So I'm guessing before this, Skarbrand was like life of the party, telling jokes, like showing up and just kind of like, everyone's like, hey, it's Skarbrand. And he's like, what up, guys? He's just like the nicest guy.
And then after he got a TBI, it was all different for him.
Oh, yeah.
Personality changed.
Choked all the personality with him, leaving only rage, which again, he's a bloodthirster. Like, this must be a pretty weak choke, because what are you choking out? Like anger and rage? Oh, no, I'm not angry anymore. I'm just...
Maybe words.
Oh, fair. Yeah. Maybe he choked the words out of him. But anyway, after doing that, he climbs to the very top of the brass citadel, winds up the shot, and then kind of throws Skarbrand like away, far. Skarbrand flies through the realm of chaos for 8 days.
Which time is meaningless in the realm of chaos, guys. Like we've established, he's been fighting for an eternity. So what does 8 days matter?
So, I mean, I guess in perspective, 8 days really isn't that much. Because if he's fighting for an eternity, like maybe that's like demon time for like 5 seconds. And he just like really quickly like smacked into a wall. Regardless, if
maybe it's a million years. Who knows?
Because time is meaningless in the place he was thrown. We can only assume it's going to be like that part of Wayne's World where they're falling and they just stop screaming and they're like, okay, what do we do now? Like at what point, like a part of it, Skarbrand's going to have to take bathroom breaks, because if we live in a reality where Skarbrand can be choked out like a bitch, I would assume he has to go pee.
Well,
maybe
hold on. Let's think about this.
Okay.
All right. If you are being thrown through the air and you're flying for 8 days, you got to go to the bathroom. I mean, you just let rip, right? And that just kind of falls behind you as some kind of like the trail of your magic comet.
Yeah. There's some observer on Terra looking up to the sky and taking this brown comet as a sign of like an emperor's ascension coming, where really it's just Skarbrand like angrily shitting himself through space and time. That's a Doctor Who episode I'd watch.
Me too.
So after 8 days, probably has some screaming breaks, probably takes a nap. He gets smacked into the ground, which actually only just it gouges a canyon in the landscape. He gets thrown down so hard. So there's how your Grand Canyon happens, because he's thrown through space and time, and no one can tell me otherwise that he isn't responsible for the formation of the Grand Canyon. But all it does is it fucks up his wings. So he loses his wings. So he can be choked by a literal...
He's homeless.
What's that? Oh, he's homeless. Yeah,
Homeless.
His dad kicked him out. But But he can be choked out even though he can't breathe. He can be thrown for 8 days, but all that happens is his wings get broken. So after this, he picks himself up and he very delicately binds his wings together with some chains that he probably found at like a local Home Depot or something that's kind of around the corner or there.
Corn Depot.
Corn, Corn Depot. That's actually pretty bad. So, and he's frozen in the moment of that. So that's kind of where he returns to every time, is like, you know how like when demons get killed, they go away and then they come back again. Apparently he always goes back to the moment he picks himself off the ground after being thrown out by Korn, which, you know, that part's actually pretty metal. I can understand that. That would be pretty cool if it wasn't for the fact that he was thrown for a length of time where time is meaningless. And also he was choked when he can't breathe.
Right.
Also, fun fact about him. So if you're Skarbrand, you listen to Tzeentch, and you try and kill your god dad, and you fail horribly, and it turns out it's just part of a Tzeentch scheme. Why would you instantly then team up with Tzeentch Greater Demons?
Remember, John, he has no personality left. He probably doesn't even remember that. That TBI really took a lot of his life away. He doesn't know who his kids are. He doesn't remember what his job is like. He lost his sense of taste and smell. Probably.
Man, he got the Rona.
That's what it was.
He got canyoned. So now, Skarbrand is like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, where he just wakes up screaming and gets summoned into real space, goes murders a bunch of things, gets murdered, and then gets sent right back to like a crater that's formed to wake up screaming again. Not knowing his name, I would assume, because he lost all his, he still has memory. How do you have memory without personality? Oh no, we'll ask someone.
John, I like my narrative here of him just really having had a significant impact to his head. He had like 8 concussions. It's Korn.
He's like that guy from that football movie where like if he gets one more concussion, he's gonna die. But he can't die. But there's many things Skarbrand can do. So he is quite terrible. Again, this is for everyone who asks for GW to return to the Grimdark. This is what you're asking for. It's like this level of sense and storytelling where things are just grimdark for the sake of being grimdark. Where they're like, man, we'll say an eternity because that's cool. And then we'll say 8 days because that sounds long. And I'm like, hey, buddy, you just said it. Danny, what have you got to add about Skarbrand? It just makes me angry, which I guess works for the model and the army line that he's a part of.
Well, and so let's talk about how, remember how we talked about how if you set up the avatar of Cain as an easy like boss to beat. He's like first boss battle.
Yeah.
So if you want to show how badass your character and your story is, he killed the avatar of Cain. Well, Skarbrand got defeated by an avatar of Cain.
Wait,
back to the warp. Yeah.
Oh no. When
Bael'tan shattered, he came through a corrupted webway, but the avatar of Bael'tan fucking banished his ass.
And didn't the avatar like get like yanked when the Ynnari came in?
Well, that was during that.
Man.
I think that was during that thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, yeah, the avatar probably died, but he killed Skarbrand too.
I really wish I had like our listings in front of us for like what our top 5 is currently, because at this point I'm thinking 5 is too low when he literally got killed by the dick measuring stick for Space Marines. That's really bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, man. Pretty bad.
Oh, well, he's at least 5th.
Yeah.
And fact checking aside, if you want to let us know where you would put him, we'll probably listen to you. We're putting a lot of effort into this here. So
our rankings are what was that sergeant? What was his name again?
Oh, Lawnmower Man, Sergeant Lawnmower Man, Thaddeus. So Thaddeus is 1. The second
Thaddeus
one
is 1.
Thazar, Necron Pirate Extraordinaire. Then after that it is
Drago.
And then is it the 2 Tau guys? Is it
No. Dude, you're forgetting about Cato Sicarius.
Cato Sicarius is 4. And then 5 is Anva. Man, he's a solid. Okay. Here's what I say. He is worse than Kato Sicarius.
Ooh.
Because Kato Sicarius is bad, but
Yeah.
he at least makes sense as a character. If we measure this in amount of avatars of Cain destroyed, like as the measuring stick, he would still be worse.
Yeah. Okay. So Dante, Blood Angels Dante, cut him in half.
Skarbrand.
Skarbrand. He
Yeah.
cut Skarbrand in half. Yep.
Oof.
Let's see here. He would have killed Gulliman, but Gulliman got saved by an Emperor's Champion from the Black Templars.
Okay.
I don't know. So that's kind of cool. And that artwork for that fight is really rad.
Like his artwork is great. The model is amazing. It's
so
just,
cool.
and like I said, it's like when people ask to return to Grimdark and they wish 40K was more Grimdark, this is the kind of story that's Grimdark, like traditional Grimdark styling. Like not giving, like, because it's a Matt Ward creation, not giving him shit, because I'm sure
yeah.
he was following like an MO and like a editorial like directive to go this way and to do these things. But Jesus Christ. Yeah.
John, I'm torn. I think it should be a tie for 5th place between Kato Sicarius and Skarbrand.
So we
I
have
can't
like,
think of which one is worth. It's hard for me to decide.
so we have tied 4th between Kato and Skarbrand.
That's fine. We can do that.
I think we'll do that there. So I'm just going back over here.
You know what? How about this? Let's let the fans decide.
Oh yeah. You let us know who is worse, Kato Sicarius or Skarbrand.
Yes.
Man, it's so much defeats right here. I'm just kind of going through this here. Beaten.
He gets his ass kicked all the time.
Beaten. And then apparently since the Rift opened, he's moved erratically through the galaxy, probably avoiding all the Space Marine characters who seem to one-shot him.
And avatars of Cain.
Like he just shows up on a planet and they're like, oh, wait, there's Space Marines here? No, I should probably leave.
This seems dangerous.
This seems like a bad time for me. But yeah. So right now we have him joined 4th with Kato Sicarius. One's going to be 4th, one's going to be 5th. It's the kind of tiebreaker you guys dream for. Not the first worst or the second worst, but the kind of bottom of the barrel shit, which is what you guys are used to listening to this podcast.
Yep. You've grown accustomed to
You
it.
have grown accustomed to it. Let us know who's worse, Kato Sicarius or Skarbrand. Hopefully both have their very vocal supporters that still comment on fucking Kato videos 4 months after I've made them. We're going to be right back. The worst character in Warhammer 40,000 ever. Oh, good job passing off the responsibility to others. I enjoy that. We should do that more. And then if we don't agree with them, we'll make it up and say that people voted for it. It's fantastic.
It's the perfect rhyme, John.
Decadence and Decay.
Oh yeah, let me pull it up.
Not just another Swedish metal band that have come out, but it was the big Warhammer preview that came out last week, focusing mainly not so much on 40K. And we got a little roadmap of how it's going to go and kind of what's coming up in the future, and a couple of surprises in there, Danny.
I know, yeah, I was happily surprised, right?
Drukhari. Who thought Drukhari would be the first non-Space Marine codex to come out?
I had no idea. I wouldn't have called that from like a 1,000,000 to 1 shot.
Like we could have got an email from GW saying they were sending us a Drukhari codex, and I wouldn't have believed it. Like that's how unlikely it is.
I would have been like, what?
I think what's nice is they are one of the factions that got screwed over the most by the 9th edition changes. Like especially like how they were played before, where you wanted to run lots and lots of little patrols. Now it's like you can still do that, but goodbye all your CP. Trivecting shit when you have to pay for all of this stuff.
And they're like a little pillow fisted too. So like the news that they're just gonna like be increasing their strength and AP and attacks are all really good signs. I think that's a really great change for them. I'm very excited about that.
Dark Angel's coming too in January. The Codex cover came out. Sadly, I was very wrong that we weren't getting a Primarch with them, because all I was like, why are they hiding the cover? But sadly, it's just because it's so they can put
Yeah.
cool cover art up.
The cover art is awesome, though. I love the hood.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So those are our January codexes coming. And then Death Guard is coming in a couple weeks here, I would assume, or maybe even the week after next. And then
I hope so.
along with that book, another Crusade supplement, which Danny puts us in a bind of which one we're going to use for our Crusade
know.
campaign. Because we have your Pariah Nexus one, and then my Smelly Fart Ill Boggles, or whatever this one's called.
You know, and we can switch off between them too.
Yeah.
Like that might be a kind of a cool thing to do.
Let's forge your narrative on it. And then
That's right.
also sending shockwaves around the internet and leading people to massively overestimate what it is. We have our first 9th edition full supplement.
Yeah, the Act 1 of the Book of Rust, which is Warzone Chardon.
Yep. Which has rules for AdMech, Death Guard, and Knights, I want to say. Imperial Knights?
Knights and Drukhari.
And Drukhari. So that I think that gives us a little roadmap about what we're going to see February, March time. Because we're going to probably see all of those come out fairly close together, especially with AdMech's giant model release last year. I would imagine they would be fairly close around the corner. What are your thoughts about seeing a supplement so... I mean, soon into the edition is the wrong word, but it is fairly recent.
So so first of all, I wonder, right, like with them releasing the Death Guard Codex before they release this new Warzone book,
right?
What are they trying to do? I guess like why didn't those rules make it into the Death Guard Codex proper? Like, so it kind of feels, I don't know. It's fine. It's totally fine. Like that and Drukhari, right? Because both of those are probably getting codexes before this book comes out. I would assume.
I think what happened, like speaking to our sources, just to make us sound all kind of mysterious, we were kind of told that the Death Guard book was just okay. Like it wasn't going to be like super overpowered. It wasn't going to be bad. It was going to be very whelming. So maybe this is something they're doing as a way to kind of fix on the fly of kind of, okay, so the Death Guard book isn't necessarily measuring up or playing how they wanted to, but they've already finalized the print and sent it off to the printers. And throwing out supplements like this to kind of fill it up. I know people are pissy that they have to carry a whole extra book, to which I would say get over it. It's the size of a DVD case. But that's just me.
If you're going to be taking this to like taking the rules from the book in your army.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be required to take this stuff, probably. I mean, I don't know.
No. But yeah, so very exciting to actually get like that supplement. I'm interested to see it. I think we talked about it where we should be having a review coming up next week of the Blood Angels book. It's Thanksgiving in America, so we won't be getting it up before the actual pre-order goes up. But both Danny and I are very excited for the Death Guard book because it's going to show us the direction of 3 or 4 different factions, and kind of how chaos is going to play in 9th edition. Because if you look at historically the Death Guard book for like the 1 edition it's been about, or historically chaos books, they've had the rules for demons in the books with them.
Yeah.
So we're going to see what the roadmap is for demons is going to be, and even how they treat Thousand Suns, because we've started to see like Arcana Astartes and Bubonic Astartes kind of going around. So I thought we were going to see some more with the Forge World book. We didn't see as much then, but I think there's going to be a lot of cool hidden things in the Death Guard book. And hopefully, Danny, you'll find some stuff like you found the early rules for whatever you call your vehicle wounding rule for Necrons.
Oh, quantum shielding.
Your eagle eye caught that in the Crusade book, so hopefully we're gonna get some stuff in that Death Guard book.
That'd be dope. I would really like that.
That'd be super dope. What else did you see from that preview that you're super excited about?
Let's see here. So I liked, first of all, I liked the new rules preview that they had for the Incubi. They seemed very good at 3 attacks apiece and 2 flat damage on their clave. I really like that. I thought that was super solid.
Sort of like a real reason to take Incubi again, huh?
I think they're going to be scary, man. They're at least strength 5 all the time. So Yeah, watch out for those guys. I also liked the Dark Angels said that, or they said that they would be getting, if you take Deathwing Vanguard or Ravenwing Outrider, they'll get OBSEC. I thought that was pretty cool and fluffy.
Yep.
The new Van Sar models look super cool.
Oh yeah, the Goblin gliders.
Yeah, exactly. I might steal some of those and maybe try and make some Necron stuff out of them. I could see them kind of fitting kind of cool with that aesthetic.
Yeah, almost like a Cryptek riding one of those things would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. Treebeard looks dope. The new plastic tree.
Oh my god! Okay, 40K podcast, but if that's plastic, that's amazing. That model.
It's super good. Yeah, it is plastic.
Yeah, that's like the quality on that is just great. I mean, I wish they would use the plastic injection machines for like more Death Guard stuff, but
and then the new Slaanesh like warriors models are going to look really cool in a bunch of different stuff. So I hope that they can bring some of that aesthetic to 40K for the Slaanesh models.
Well, I thought what was really cool is there is a lot of conversion potential for all the models they've shown. So Sigvald, the big chaos character, the Prince of Slaanesh, he's going to come up in a bunch of different conversions in 40K. The Van Sar stuff is going to come up in a bunch of different conversions, as is the Chaos Warriors. Like there's a lot of really good bases for 40K models in there. And I'm really excited to kind of see what's going to come out.
Me too. I'm very excited. The models look phenomenal. I'm very excited to see where stuff is going. Like the modeling just keeps getting better and better and better and better. So, very happy.
Awesome. But yeah, it was a very low key preview, I would say. People seemed a little upset about it, but those same people have kind of forgotten that 40K has been nonstop for the past 6 months.
Yeah, no joke.
And it's time for some people to get some love. We're going to take a quick break. We will be right back-ish, probably.
Do you like cookies but want something more British? Buy biscuits. Not like those you have for gravy. British biscuits. For dunking in your British tea. Stiff upper lip guaranteed. Biscuits, as recommended by Queen Liz of the Britons.
And we're back to round things up and finish stuff off. Couple like housekeeping things. We did have like a little 3-man round robin RTT planned for December or January. Hopefully that's something that can still happen. Again, that'll be safety dependent, but it's going to be Danny and his, what army are you playing?
Necrons, probably like 80% Necrons.
So yeah, 20% Tau. No, wrong edition. So yeah, it'd be Danny's Necrons with my Khorne Demons against Kev's Death Watch and Taylor, who's been on the show before, his whatever the hell he's like overexcited about that week.
Yeah.
He's very enthusiastic. But it'll be a 1 day maybe or over a few days. But the whole idea is 3 games. Everyone plays everyone. Winner takes nothing. And we're very excited about it because it's almost like a real tournament. My list isn't going to change, Danny. I'm going to be real honest with you. Because I need those 10 points. I need those 10 painted points. So I have to get to painting all of this crap, and the only thing Khorne I have fully painted is a Bloodthirster that I'm not taking. So I'm very excited about that. Oh, I finished a Bloodthirster this week too. That's what else I did.
Oh yeah, you did. That guy looks great.
Thanks. Yeah. It's all contrast fun. What else you got to plug before we get going and skedaddle?
Nothing really. Other than our Patreons and how awesome they are.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for supporting us, guys.
Yeah, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being awesome and just providing great conversation in our Discord, our Patreon exclusive Discord. A lot of great guys. And man, we had a beautiful Void Dragon model that got finished up and put in there today. My Death Guard's still put to shame by the Death Guard that's put in there. And then Wingo's throwing out some great knights, just throwing out lightning logs all over the place. So it's great seeing that hobby progress. Also, based on their feedback, we started a Paint the Pounds Away challenge where we all post pictures of our piles of shame, and then we just paint from that pile. Sadly, I have bought more and more shame since the pile picture was taken, but I'm definitely ashamed of it, and I continue to paint from it. But I also have 182 models to paint in like a month, which, yeah, I'm excited about. It's good.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Check us out on YouTube. There'll be some content up there sometime, probably. Mob Rules. And then on Facebook, Mob Rules AK. Look for us anywhere that good podcasts are, including Audible now. So after you're done listening to your favorite Warhammer audiobook, listen to us just ruin stories about Skarbrand. And then decide if he's worse than Chaos Daemons or not, and then tell us.
And John, don't forget, after you listen to that and tell us who is better, Skarbrand or Chaos Daemons. Sorry, which is worse? That's the right. Yeah. Check out some of the other affiliated podcasts that we have on the Rogue Trader Network.
Absolutely.
The Dangly Boys, High Lords of Terra, and NZ40 Shabal.
It's the NZ40 Shabal. If they have the hard Z, we have to take away the hard C. That's
correct.
We don't make the rules, we just enforce them. And then we're real hopeful that in 2 weeks' time.
We really like to take that hard C all the time, bro.
We sure do. And we're real hopeful that next episode we can get Bartosz from NZ40 Shabal on to talk about Custodes. It's been a while since we talked about our favorite janitorial service. So we want to take Bartosz on, who's a real top New Zealand player, which isn't an oxymoron. There's more than one. And
there's at least 16.
There's at least 16 because they can hold tournaments. And they can.
They're having their Masters, I think, next weekend.
They are.
It's the weekend after, yeah.
They are. So, yeah, but Bartosz, very skilled Custodes player. If you want to hear more of his thoughts on that, go ahead, listen to NZ40 Shabal, available where most podcasts are, not where all good podcasts are. Follow Danny on Twitter.
Hell yeah.
Villicate. He goes on there sometimes.
At Villicate5.
Oh, God, yeah. Sorry, didn't want you following the wrong Villicate.
There's multiple of them. I don't know.
Follow me on Twitter. Hey, John Q. You get to see me be sarcastic to people under the guise of niceness. But, if you're made it this far already, then you've already heard that a ton. But aside from that, we're going to wrap it up, and we'll see you in like 2 weeks, hopefully for some Custodes talk, if we can work out international time zones. So for Mob Rules, I've been John.
I've been Danny.
And I'm going to turn the volume down.